Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your tarot reading for the week ahead, the first week of the year. So happy new year. We start off with the Ten of Swords. This card was also the first card for Capricorn, so be sure to check out that video for some more details. The Ten of Swords is the Lord of Ruin. Always looks and sounds like quite a kind of ominous card. But there is a real, there's a beautiful, beautiful transition here with the Ten of Swords, with the High Priestess and the Three of Swords. And you can see this transition from this black, from the Tower of Boaz to Yakin in the back, to this grey here. And the fact that we have the Ten of Swords moving into the Three of Swords is actually a positive sign, despite the fact that the Ten of Swords is the Lord of Sorrow, Lord of Ruin, and the Three of Swords is the Lord of Sorrow. Three of Swords is actually the number of growth as well. So there's a sense of things actually feeling lighter, that we are moving towards brighter days. It's not that necessarily the Christmas period was terrible, nor that the 2024 was necessarily terrible, but there being a sense of expansiveness, a sense of openness. You see that there's quite dark black clouds there, and they are dispersing and they're opening up and leading to where we have the Lovers, this resplendent yellow. So it's all moving in the right direction, I'm very, very happy to say. And there, not only are there brighter days ahead, but also those things that may have felt a bit oppressive and a bit heavy, clearing the way. It's unsurprising when we come back to a new year, having left our responsibilities or those things that we were working on or looking at or examining or were kind of worried about really in the end of 2024. Often when we come back and re-examine them and look at them again, we realize actually maybe this isn't quite as bleak as I'd anticipated, or it isn't as quite as dire as anticipated. So there's a real reassurance here to just maintain that optimism, maintain that hope, look to those brighter days ahead, look to the new horizon. That's something that is very, very true with regards to the Hanged Man, which is all around a change of perspective, being able to see things in a new light, in a new way, where we perhaps haven't been able to before. And the fact that you have, it's quite remarkable really, that you've got almost exactly the same colour here, this grey of the Three of Swords and the grey of the Hanged Man. Now, grey doesn't necessarily have to mean bleak or grey and dismal by any means. Normally, grey within the tarot is the colour of harmony, the colour of balance, because it is the midpoint between black and white, where we may have been seeing things in quite binary terms. It is or it isn't, or it's yes or it's no. There's a sense this week of finding more of the middle ground, which will suit you very, very well, being Libra, the scales, and also not working so much in extremes. Something that again is echoed very, very well with the High Priestess, even though she has this black and white, the yin and yang aspects behind her, she sits at this center point. Now, part of the way in order to accomplish that and achieve that is found through the High Priestess and the Hanged Man. These are very, very spiritual forces. And if you've watched Capricorn video, you would have seen me say that the mudra, the hand gesture in the Ten of Swords, is the same as the Hierophant, and that being that there is more above us than we know. So you're being really, really encouraged this week to connect with your higher self. And for some of you, you might be thinking, well, what does that mean? Ultimately, it's point of meditation, reflection, anything that you can do to connect with the spiritual aspect of yourself, the soul. Sometimes that can be through meditation, through sound bath, through yoga, through prayer, whatever it is that that you do, that you go to, that reignites that spiritual part of you. There's a time over the festive period where we tend to typically indulge, or we celebrate, or we exchange gifts, and it's a nice break from the everyday. And for most of us, it's a point of escapism, which is absolutely required, absolutely necessary. It's a point of respite. What we often don't make time for, and you're being called to do, Libra, is more of that spiritual, intuitive self-development work. So I'd really encourage you in this first week, because come the second week, third week of Jan, we're probably back in the throes of everyday life, our work, our responsibilities. Please, please prioritize this week some sort of self-reflection, some point of connecting with your intuition, whether that's a ritual, whether that is just spending some time in meditation and in prayer, particularly if things have felt a little bit heavy here, because I can assure you that spending some time connecting with the subconscious, connecting with your intuitive self will lighten, in all sense of the word. It will lighten your energy, it will give you a lighter perspective, a lighter outlook on things, but also will lighten those burdens that you may be feeling in your life. It's unusual for me to have the Three of Swords and see it in an aspect that is, again, I don't tend to like to use the word positive or negative, but this feels very much like the light aspect of the Three of Swords, that we are dispersing the clouds, that things will feel lighter. So you, again, don't be surprised if this week that you're feeling a little bit more emotionally buoyant than you have been for a while, that you're feeling less of that, particularly that emotional and mental oppression. Sometimes when the Ten of Wands appears, it talks about the responsibilities and having to do lots and lots of different things. The fact that it's the Ten of Swords, the swords being the mental processes, thoughts and ideas, that can kind of weigh heavily on us. And the fact that it's reducing all the way down to the three is a really positive aspect. So you're therefore likely to leave the week with a renewed sense, a new perspective. It might be because of that combination of the High Priestess and the Hanged Man, it may be seemingly quite a quiet week, where not much happens, but internally there are likely to be big shifts. So this is why I'm really emphasizing this need, this requirement to carve out some internal time. Again, that might be journaling or whatever that means to you would be great. And then finally, the fact that we have the Lovers, and this is something that I said to the Aries sign. So again, you can go and check out that video, particularly pertinent if you've got Sun, Moon and Rising in Libra and Aries, or Libra and Capricorn. There will definitely, these themes will be coming through quite strongly for you, I imagine. But the Lovers, as much as this is about kind of connecting with loved ones and all of those things, we can focus here in terms of the angel and the marriage between Adam and Eve, and that is the marriage between the conscious and subconscious mind, and the High Priestess very much representing the subconscious mind, and arguably, although strictly the magician rules the conscious mind, we could say that the Hanged Man here, with his sense of enlightenment and his change of perspective, could also show the conscious mind. So these two things marrying up, another way to put it is head and heart are marrying up, or what we intuitively think is right to do and rationally is right to do start to key up, whereas perhaps these have been slightly out of sync. And because of this focus this week on that internal, emotional, and intuitive aspect of ourselves, we find that everything is working into better balance. Six is the trump number of the Lovers, and six is the number of harmony and balance. So it's really nice to see that you're likely to leave this week feeling much, much brighter, much lighter, much more, oh, okay, things aren't quite as perhaps heavy, or, you know, again, we can enter this year with a sense of dread, especially when we know that we have to go back to work emails or getting the kids back to school or whatever it might be. But actually it doesn't necessarily have to be that way at all. So really, really nice outlook, actually, which is great to see. Be sure to check out your ascendant sign and your moon sign for a more in-depth reading of the week ahead. If you're not sure how to discover that, then be sure to check out the website and you can look under offerings and free weekly readings, and there's a full description of how to discover those ascendant, moon, and rising sign and sun sign. Okay, have a great first week of the year, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.